everybody, thank you so much for checking out the Friday vlog. I wanted to share something a little bit new that's going to be going on from now on. One Friday a month, I'm going to be tackling the Copic Colors challenge. So what that means is that Copic Marker comes out with 3 markers, and they ask some artists to draw a whole new piece coloring just with those 3 markers. So for this very first one, for January, I got B60, G82, and Y18. So I'm going to be creating something completely new on YouTube exclusive. I'm actually going to be doing all these different Spider-Man villains. So, and with that, I'm also going to be on my Patreon page and doing another set where if you subscribe to one of the tiers, I'll be doing the same kind of challenge with the same colors, but it'll be a Batman villains. So you get to see my whole process, get to talk about it and go through a tutorial almost, and then you actually get to keep the piece as a digital copy. So if you want to go and check that out, go over to patreon.com/radpencils. But for now, we're going to be tackling the very first one here on YouTube, and that is of Electro.
Here we go. Alright, so as always, I always start with a quick sketch, and it's going to be very, very loose just to get everything where I want to go. And I'm starting with the head and face, just mapping out. Actually, I did a self-portrait reference for this one. I just stood in front of the mirror. As you can see, I'm holding my phone, and I posed for this piece. I haven't actually uploaded it onto this video, so maybe I'll share it on my Instagram. You guys can take a look and see what I did there. So as I'm now just blocking out everything very, very loosely right now, and going through, Electro was actually pretty much the obvious choice for January's Copic challenge. The colors were all there. I didn't know how much I can actually differentiate with Electro, so I thought, okay, I'll play it safe and I'll just draw him for the first month to give it a shot and see what comes out. Since I don't have abs, I had to go into my memory banks and get some ideas from other drawings of abs, and I think I was very, very heavily influenced with Frank Cho abs. Frank Cho has some pretty good-looking abs for his character, so I made sure I did that. This one I used some reference, just 'cause I can't remember how to do his mask properly, so this is a very old school original version of his mask. There's a new version from, like, I think the female replacement or legacy version of the character. That's actually kind of cool, but I kept it original for Electro's sake. You can see my hair just kind of popping up on that part of the screen. But right now I think I'm just doing something, I don't know what. Oh yeah, I have my iPad sitting right there, so usually I like to have some videos playing, and so I can have something in the background just to watch or listen to. Usually it's about wrestling podcasts and news sites and stuff. So okay, so just going in and playing around with the hands just so I know where everything's gonna go. Looks like he has 6 fingers, but it's just the bend on the one ring finger that he has. And yeah, always going in, just trial and error, just seeing what works and what doesn't look good. Going in a race. And I said it before and I'll say it again, always use reference. If there's stuff that you're not comfortable drawing, or you don't quite have a grasp on what something's going to look like, just use the reference. It's so much easier. Just don't use it as kind of like a crutch. Don't depend on references all the time, especially for things that you know you can draw. Use it for items that you may not know what to do, and then go forward with it. But use it like I said. I used the reference of myself for the pose, just so I knew where the head would line up with the shoulder, or how the waist would bend at certain places, and especially with the hands, just so I can have something that looks different with hands. But since I'm especially with this pose, especially the musculature, I know the musculature, I know the anatomy for it, so that was okay. But when it came to just the just the lining up of all the places, because I'm wearing a hoodie and stuff, right? So you can't see where the pecs line up or where the shoulder lines up. So that's all by memory, and that's all by doing this for however many years. So I know the anatomy part of it right now. So when it comes to poses, yeah, it's just play around, see what you like, and move around and check all these different things, and always have a big bank of reference material that you can always go back to and kind of go and see, so that you can always come up with new different ways to draw something. And I think, yeah, I had my phone out just because I can get the idea of where his costume's coming from, or where I can add some new elements. Alright, so now we are on to the inking side. This is just a Micron pen. That's number 1. I think it's one of the thicker. It's the thinner of the thickest lines, if that makes any sense. I use this pen to go around the entire outside of the drawing, just so that there's a little bit of line weight. And what line weight means is just that it helps the viewer know the position in the page for a character or for an item. So if it's closer, it's supposed to be closer to the reader on the panel or on the page, the line weight will be thicker for this character, and the further away, it'll be a thinner line. So it just shows like a depth and scale. So especially when it's just Electro on his own, it'll just be a thicker line. I'll probably go back around and add some thicker lines to it, but for now it's just the one pass. Right now this is a 005, it's the thinnest one, so I'm using this for the small little details, like the part of his brow and part of the costume, because it's just going to be like an etching kind of thing. And I think this is a 03 or a 05, so this is what I go through and add all the details to. Yeah, 05, you can see it there. I've been using the Micron pens for, I think, my entire drawing career. I just find them affordable and easy to use. I'm still learning. If you've been watching for any amount of time, I've been dipping into the Indian ink and speedball pens. Those are the ones I've been using lately, just so I can get used to using a pen like that. But when I know I have a fast job I gotta do, instead of trying to play around and learn as I go, which I like to do, I just grab a Micron pen and just go. It's literally just handling it like a pencil, and that's my strength, is with a pencil. And you can see right there as I'm drawing the abs. There's abs are not a certain shape. They're actually a little bit more structured. So you see there's a little dip and some one that goes up and then goes back down, so that the abs sit on each other. Makes it look a little bit more obtuse. And the pecs will be it'll be shaded a little bit darker just because they are a bit thicker of a muscle than everything else. And one of the things I really liked about this piece was that I was able to get his eyes to kind of look a little like have a high brow kind of thing, like almost like a smirk and snarl to him. So it's not like he's angry, he's kind of like bring it on kind of attitude. And that was kind of fun. When I was first starting out, that was the one major thing I always tried to do, was bring on different faces, different expressions. I always wanted my drawings to feel kind of animated, or have an animated style where their poses, their expressions were exaggerated, so you can, as if I wasn't adding any letters to it, I wanted to make sure the reader knew that what the character was doing, what he was thinking, just by his expression alone. So you really have to exaggerate it. So we just zoom right in, so that I can show you all the details as I'm coloring. So this is the first of the Y18. So right now, how I'm blocking it is that essentially the light source is. So I think there's a light source coming from behind and from his hands, because there'll be a bunch of electricity flying out of his hands. So I'm making sure that on the right side of his body or his left, the light's coming from. So yeah, so you can see there's the bouncing light coming from his hip and along his side, a little bit on his chest there. And yeah, you see it on his face, and definitely on his brow and on his cheek, on the different parts. And yeah, right at the bottom of his pec and right on the side of his abs, you can see it right here. Yeah, so the white will be where the light is hitting it the most, and then all the yellow there will be just part of his costume. So as I said before, it was much simpler just to do Electro just with his main colors, because that's all it is. And then, yeah, once I know what the next few months are, it might be a little bit different to do these characters, just because a lot of characters actually have green and yellow, so I don't know if Copic's gonna do any kind of doubles or do similar colors. So you'll see a lot more experimental choices with the characters that I do for this series. So I'm going through and taking a look. Yeah, so right on the very bottom, the abs will have some shine on there. And I'll probably go another pass with the green just let it be a little bit less saturated. Yeah, when you put in some green, it'll be, for the first layer, it'll be a lot, not as bright or as vibrant as you think. You have to give it a couple passes. The yellow is really, really vibrant, so that's really good. Yeah, here's that other shine that I have, just so, because that part will be black around his head and his collar. Or his traps. That's what the muscle's called. Yeah, I usually make that part black just so that breaks up some of the color a little bit, gives it a little bit different style for his costume. So you can start to see how the shine's gonna work. And here's my other pass with the green. As you can see, it's already making it a lot vibrant. Alright, now we hit the blue, and I want this to be kind of like, it's either going to be the shade of his skin, so that the white part of the page will act as the shine, and the blue will be the shading part, or it's going to act as the brightness for the green part of the suit. So the white will be the brightness, and then it'll fade into the green part of the suit, so there's a little bit of differentiation. And it's actually going to act almost as a shade for the yellow, so we can get a little bit of definition in his yellow suit. Again, since it's a very, very light color, you got to give it a couple passes in order to actually see the actual color, because it acts like it's a gray, but it's actually blue. And now you can see I'm actually going to be tackling a lot of the electricity shooting out of his hands. So it's going to be just taking the yellow, just doing some crazy lines and crazy shapes. Make it look like electricity is just flowing out of him. I think this was one of the mistakes that I made. I didn't really see how far or how zoomed in this would go. So that little bottom corner, you're not going to see a lot of it, but you'll see the full image at the very, very end. So there's not much there. It's just more electricity flying out of him. And the cool thing with electricity, you can actually just go buck wild and just play around. Just know that there's a source point, and that's where the lightning goes, and then you can crackle out like a branch just to kind of get it out there. Alright, now we're going to fill in the blacks, and these are still the micron pens, but they're the thicker ones. This is a 3. It's just a flat, thin kind of thing, so I can catch bigger surface areas a little bit quicker instead of just with a fine brush kind of marker. Now I'm going to go in with the finer tipped one and get those edges and make sure they're covered so the lines are filled in. Alright, I think this is going to be the last part of it, where I'm going to take a white pen and go through and just do a little bit of a line in the lightning just to show that there's like it's crackling white, and then the yellow is kind of the surrounding piece. So as I'm doing about that, so this will be the monthly piece you'll see on my YouTube channel. If you're a Batman fan, I'm actually doing the same kind of thing over on my Patreon, which is basically doing all the Batman villains, doing the same kind of thing. You get to see me take 3 markers and create a Batman villain from scratch. I'll be talking to you about it just like this, but also with that $25 tier reward, you also get to keep the piece as a digital print. So you get video, you get digital print, and every tier that's below it, you get to get that as well. So it's a really cool deal if you're really interested in seeing how you can create pieces with just 3 colors and make it look different and make it look like your own. I would suggest go and check that out, and it'll be helping me a lot. It's really going to help get my stuff visible, because I'm going to be spending that kind of money on conventions and getting out to see all of you guys. So yeah, so right now I'm just adding some extra background just to give it some more artistic depth. Yeah, just almost like what you'll see with the Joker piece that I worked on Patreon. Did a little bit of a background using blue just to break up the white to the character, so he stands out a little bit more. Yeah, it's just playing around with what you see and what you got, and then you have the finished image right here. And it's this was a fun piece. I like drawing characters that I don't normally get to draw, and doing members of the Sinister Six are always fun. So this is like I said, this is the very first one. You'll be seeing another one later this month for February. We'll see what Copic Marker has, and we can play around with that. Thank you guys very, very much for checking this video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay notified. I have a new video every Wednesday, and for now, I'm doing a new video vlog every Friday, which has tutorials, wrestling, WWE predictions, or just me just chatting in comic halls. So we will see you next week.